Did you know there's a lot more that you can do with UV resin than just make a few little bits of jewellery and use it as a glue? I'm going to be using UV resin today in this mould, which is actually a really thin mould. It's not very deep at all, which is ideal for what I want to use it for. Now, a lot of people have complained about this mould, saying it's no good to make a tray with and that sort of thing. And they're absolutely right. It isn't any good for that, but it's ideal for what I want to use it for today. So using the J-Diction UV resin, using the J-Diction epoxy resin, I'm going to show you how you can do something a little bit different and a little bit more fun using UV resin. Well, now I've mixed my resin up, I let it thicken up for a little while, for about 10-15 minutes before I poured it. And I've also added a titanium white. And the reason I added titanium white is to really show you the effect that it will give. But if I was going to make a picture out of this or do it for myself, I wouldn't have probably used a white background. I'd use a mica colour background to make it a little bit more sparkly. Now, because this is nice and thick and we only want a really thin layer of this on this tray, then what I'm doing is I'm spreading it around using the J-Diction spatula and ensuring that I get into all these edges as well. The other important thing is make sure that you keep this on a level surface, because if not, because it is so thin, it is going to all pull up at one end. I pop all the bubbles at this stage because it makes life a little bit easier, and then you don't have these excess bubbles that you don't need. Prepare your UV resin. Now I'm pouring it into a little pot, and now I'm adding some UV colorant, because this won't prevent the UV resin from curing, but make sure you do mix this in really well so you don't get any dark spots or bits that you don't want. And also, if you want to, add a bit of glitter. I do love me glitter, and it does shine through, and you can see it a little bit sparkly in there as well. So this is where you prepare your chain. I'm making sure that my chain is fully submerged, and I'm putting this in gently, and it's not too messy, which is great, because I am very messy. I would like to say a quick thank you to all my members whose names are coming up now. Thank you for being a member of my channel and enjoying all the additional perks that we have. We've got some great new members only videos coming out very soon. So, using my lolly stick, I ensure that this is covered in resin. And what it does is the UV resin goes into the gaps of the chain to make sure that it's really quite covered. And as you can see, it's used the majority of that resin. And it carefully place this down. It doesn't matter if you get bits in the wrong place, because they will just pull through anyway. And they add to the look of it, I think. But be as neat as you want to be. And I'm not a neat and tidy person, so I'm not going to be able to do this without making some sort of mess. So once you've got your chain there and you've got this end bit that you're not got any resin on, I usually use a piece of tissue paper here as I'm pulling it through. Now pull it through slowly, because what you don't want to do is cause all the resin just to pull right the way down. And you want to be able to see the shape that you've got now and the magic that will happen in a minute. Can you hear my dogs tapping on the wooden floor in the background? Bless them. They're going to look out the window. They'll probably bark in a second. So once you've got that done, just clear up any resin that has overflowed. And this is really important. Now is when you cure the resin. You're not curing the epoxy resin, you're curing the UV resin. And I've got a couple of torches, but if you've only got one, that's fine. And make sure that you go over all the areas as well a good couple of times, and then let it cure up. The second one we're going to do is going to be a string pull. Now, I've chosen some fairly fine twine here because I like the way that the fine twine pulls through when I pull it through. It's about the same length as the chain. The other thing is with the twine, there's a lot less clearing up as well, and it does give a different effect. Prepare it exactly the same way, this base, and then I'll show you when it comes to the pulling. Now I've got my string all prepared the same way as I did with the chain, but it is a little bit more messy because it does drip off the string. Now I thought I'd got my string cut to the same length, but it isn't, it is a bit shorter. Thank you to everyone that got me a coffee last month. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Your names are coming up now, and everything that people send me, the money goes towards buying stuff like these molds and things for the channels. So pour this again slowly, and as you can see, you are getting a slightly different effect. I think it's a more subtle, reformed or refined effect here than you do get with the chain. I love this effect. Now go again with the UV torch. I'm only using one this time, and cure this up. And this again is where the magic happens, and you'll see that magic at the end of the video. Check out my other channel as well, Steve McDonald Crafting. I do lots of different upcycling crafts and lots of different crafts that are great fun over there. So I'd love to see you over there. Check it out. Links in the description. So going again, making sure I cure all these bits up, and then allowing the epoxy itself to cure. So this is the chain pull and the UV resin, and that's cured up now. So let's take it out of its pot, and then we can have a look at the next one in a second. I love the texture that you get with this technique, and it's very difficult to get that kind of texture with any other technique as well. It's a combination of putting the UV resin into the epoxy resin, the UV resin curing up a lot quicker, creating a little bit of heat, and then the texture comes around there. I just think that comes out really nicely, and you can do this on small things like coasters as well, and that's the chain pull one. So let's take a look at the string pull one and see how that one's come out. This one is the one that I did the string pull on, and it's all nice and cured up now, so it should come out there. And the great thing about the J-Diction resin is that, oh look, I must have had it not level, and it's not poured level in the mould, and it's taken that little bit off because it was so small and thin. Never mind, we could glue that back on if we wanted to. That's why it's so important to have it level. Look at the difference that it makes, because all resins are self-leveling. I love the texture you can get using this technique, and I think it works really well. You could use mica powder in the background, and that'd give it a little bit more movement. So this is the chain pull, and this is the string pull. I absolutely really think the texture on it comes out wonderful when you use the two different types of resin. You must make sure that you cure up the UV resin, because if not, it's never going to cure up unless it goes outside. I also like the way it comes out on the back as well. And you could use this as the front, I suppose, if you really wanted to, because you don't get the same texture on the back as you do the front. But it's the texture, to me, that makes it look nice. And if you use like greens and browns and perhaps a different background, you would get it really looking amazing. But I just wanted to show you using the colours that I've used to show you the technique. Let me know in the comments if you like this. I'll carry on showing you different things like this if I get enough likes. So please boot that like button. The link to everything that I've used today is in the description below, so if you want to get hold of it, especially the J-Diction resins, they are brilliant. Be sure to check out the video that's coming up next. It's on the deep pour J-Diction resin. It's just amazing resin. You've got to get it and have it in your resin stash because it is so good. Take care. Enjoy your resin. Bye.